Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
The last console generation had a pretty boring start. The consoles were released pretty early back in the late 2013, but man did it take a while for the developers to make games on these consoles. I was a huge fan of Sony's exclusives, yet they were nowhere to be seen. Almost every new release was just a remaster for them, and for the Microsoft too. Then From Software swooped in, and just like they gave the PlayStation 3 a head start with the Demon's Souls, they gave the PlayStation 4 generation Bloodborne. On this day 6 years ago, in 2015, Bloodborne was released to the world. I didn't play it then, and I wish I had played it sooner, but once I did, I completely fell in love with it, and my interest in the Soulsborne genre was rekindled.
Fear the old blood.
So my entire focus with this video is to share my experience on what this game did so right that it basically ruined all other games for me. Well, ruin is a bit of an exaggeration, but if I'm playing a video game now, I will be turning up the difficulty. The bullet sponge phenomena is becoming a norm in the games these days, because of which they hardly ever provide the same thrill as the same exhaustion as the Soulsborne games. Bloodborne was my gateway into those games. Admittedly, I didn't do well at starting off, and it took me a while to get back into it. I would say that Bloodborne was the defining Soulsborne experience. This was much different compared to the Dark Souls 3. I started off with Dark Souls 3, and I pushed for the platinum trophies on that as well. And I succeeded it, and it sent me to a spiraling down to the rabbit hole of Soulsborne and Souls-like games. The real kicker for me was Bloodborne, which is such an expectation-breaking, monumental masterpiece of a game, instantly became one of my favorites. Taking a look back, when most people saw the game's initial reveal trailer and promotional content, everyone thought it was just another Dark Souls but with gothic theme. Yes, the game does have werewolves, and it is definitely gothic, and yes, the game does have a lot of the elements from its predecessor, such as the uncompromisingly difficult gameplay, the giant "you died" screen that shows up every time you die, and the blood echoes that you have to go back for each time you were killed in the game. However, after a little while into the Bloodborne, I realized that this is actually something entirely different. The first time you've dropped into the chaotic world of Yharnam is terrifying. This is a dark, broody and terrifying world, not unlike the worlds of From Software have been known to create even before Bloodborne. However, the way this world looks and feels resembles a way fantasy wonderland and way more a terrifying interpretation of something Howard Phillips Lovecraftian would have created. The Lovecraftian horror here is so visible clearly in every single street you walk through, and every enemy you encounter. In the Souls games, you always had a lurking fear ahead of you, but Bloodborne took it one step further and took away your shield to start off with. Bloodborne does not hold your hand, and it gives you no hints of how to play it, and constantly reminds you of how much you should focus on being the aggressor. I remember the first time I came around the wooden shield, it came with a troll message saying, "Shields are nice, but not if they engender passivity." There's no running away from the enemies, no evading them. The only way to progress in Bloodborne was to fight back hard, and my god was it difficult. I died hundreds of times in my early playthrough. It took me a solid while to understand how these weapons worked, how the sword can be used for slashing but also for combos where you can extend it and making each hit basically hit harder. The way the world reset every single time I died in the game, I became so familiar with everything that I killed in the game, despite the fact that they were changing positions or looks every single time. The more I died, the more I learned about the world and the tricks they had up its sleeves. For example, there's always an enemy that plays dead next to the carriage. I got gutted by him many times during the playthrough, until I realized how to lure them out and kill them. You can't really get rid of them for good in this world, though you can learn to live with them, with enough practice of course. Once I invested the amount of time that was required, it was safe to say that I started feeling bad for how weak they were as well. I should talk about the guns here. Yes, the gun. In Bloodborne, you start up with a blunderbuss pistol instead of the shield. While it's not really a third-person shooting mechanics that you can use to headshot enemies, this bad boy can still stagger crowds of enemies backwards so you can just catch and breath and heal your wounds. The real mastery of this gun comes when you learn to use this gun as a parrying mechanic. You see, with the right timing, just like in any other Soulsborne games, you leave your enemies ripped for a brutal finisher attack. Parries have been mechanics since Dark Souls, but there always been a difficult mechanics to make use of. However, you don't really have any other choice in Bloodborne, so you have to learn how to use this as a proper timing to take and make sure to make the gunshot right. As a typical beginner stuck against Father Gascoigne, this trick was brutal for him. Mastering the combat is only part of what makes Bloodborne so riveting. Discovering what lurks beneath the surface is the other. Yharnam might not be the biggest map From Software has created, such as the labyrinthian Lordran, but honestly speaking, it is definitely Miyazaki's most masterful creation. This world is filled with random storytelling in each corner, but it also literally hides secrets inside of them. The more you progress through the game, the more your insights will increase. You can also consume the item such as the Madman's Knowledge to increase the insight. So more insights allows you to access the shop in the Hunter's Dream's safe hub world. You can use it to buy portions, weapons and as such, or to summon other players into your own world. However, the catch is that the difficulty increases when you have more insight. And once you have way too much of it, you will start seeing things that just were not there before. Like higher beings in a cathedral world, the first time I discovered them it was truly mind-blowing. And it only made me more curious as what else was there beneath the surface.
This is all that I can do.
As for the level design, Yharnam is immaculate. Even the recent Soulsborne games haven't reached this quality of level design in recent times. Sekiro Has Died Twice and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order come somewhat close, but they are outmatched simply by how good Bloodborne is. Yharnam is articulately crafted that even a small change can become gigantic. You don't just find a new place to explore when you wander this world, but also the ways to get around this world much quicker. So if you die to a boss, you don't actually have to track back from the lamp, but instead you can use those shortcuts to reach your destination. Boss fights in the game are the only thing that rewards you with a stability in time. The bosses don't reset each time you die, so while the racetrack is filled with rocks to step on, the hurdles once crossed can't ever come back. In conclusion, I'd like to make it clear that Bloodborne is one of the most visceral, soulful games with the actual passion put into every inch of its design. Miyazaki's love for the Lovecraftian shines the brightest and has ever with this game. It changed my entire worldview of what video games should aspire to be and pushed me into the incredible, obscure genre which I was honestly afraid of for a while. Bloodborne is a masterpiece, and once you play it, you can never go back to the world of normal video games without feeling like there's something missing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Guys, please do consider supporting me on my Patreon to receive these earlier access and also extra rewards. Thank you again, guys. Like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.
Even you sin.
May the good blood
I can only
umber
by a few blues. Let the echoes become your strength.
a password.
Even you